There's a lot of dating advice pushed on men right now that sounds good on the surface, but leaves men emptier, more bitter, and more disconnected than ever before. I'm talking, of course, about the whole red pill idea of sleep with as many women as you can, never commit to any of them, and once you commit to one, make sure that she's okay with you cheating on her. That's basically what a lot of these red pill creators are out there pushing on everybody who will listen. That you should always keep your options open, and you should always be, even if you're in a relationship, you should always be looking because that keeps your partner on her toes. The truth of the matter is that leads you down a very dark path. And honestly, that doesn't make you more of a man. That doesn't expand your life in any kind of way. It doesn't make anything feel better or greater or anything like that. It's just chasing after immediate pleasure. The immediate pleasure of sex. And selling sex has always been a great marketing strategy. But the truth is, that's not strength. That's not masculinity. That's not courageousness, that's not temperance, that's not justice, that's not any of these virtues that are associated with masculinity. It's avoidance. It's delving into self-destructive behavior because it feels good in the moment. It's like drinking. If you drink a little bit, you feel nice, you feel kind of social, you start loosening up a little bit. But you keep drinking and drinking and drinking, you start deteriorating. Your vision starts deteriorating. Your speech starts deteriorating. Everything slows down. You become this sloppy mess of a person. And the more you do it, the less control of yourself you have. And so today I wanted to go into specifically what happens if you go down this path. If you follow this advice, what happens? What would hypothetically happen to you if you were to take this advice and go sleep with as many women as you can? Now, let's be honest here. Hookups feel nice at first, right? They're exciting. There's a newness to it. There's an adventure to it. It's a new person. It's a new woman. It's a new adventure. It gives you this validation. It gives you this sense of, oh, I'm desired. I'm wanted. But that wears off pretty quickly. And in my experience, it's always been the case that one of the two people involved in a casual encounter or in a casual relationship, more often than not, end up wanting more out of the other person than the other person is willing to give. What do I mean by this? I mean that most of the time when you try to keep it casual with a woman, especially women, they might tell you, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I'm just looking to have fun, whatever it is. But then when push comes to shove, they end up wanting more. They end up wanting commitment. They end up wanting a relationship. And when you can't deliver on that, they feel let down. They feel less disappointed. And obviously, feelings get hurt, things get messy, and it's not a good feeling for either one of the people, especially if you're a good person, if you're a good man, which I assume you are. You don't want to go around breaking people's hearts. You want to have an understanding. You say, hey, we're going into this understanding that this is not something serious. But more often than not, people will say that they're agreeing to this hookup or agreeing to this no strings attached. But the truth is, they're expecting more. And when that expectation is not met, their feelings get hurt. And the opposite is also true. You might be expecting something more out of that she's willing to give. And when you don't get that, you might be let down and brokenhearted. Red pillars love to throw around all these stats and studies about how women, if they hook up with a bunch of men, they have a lot of trouble pair bonding after the fact. Well, the same is true with men. This is the thing that most of these guys don't talk about. The same is true with you. If you start hooking up with 100 different women, you find it harder and harder to actually get into a serious relationship with a woman. Once you find that woman that you want to be in a relationship with, it's harder for you to do it because you're so used to avoiding these types of scenarios. You haven't developed those skills. You haven't put in the reps to develop those strengths. Because here's the thing, it's a completely different skill to attract someone to, say, hook up for a night than it is to maintain a long term relationship. Those are completely different skills. And if you have denied this skill for all of your life, then guess what? You're not going to be strong in it. You're not going to be good at it. And of course, a lot of these influencers will say that, well, that's to be expected and that's okay because you're a man, you're high valued, you're the prize. And so once you settle down with a woman, she should be okay with you cheating on her. Now, far from explaining the basics of a relationship, it's treating the other person how you want to be treated, right? You don't want her to cheat on you, so why would you go and cheat on her? But far from that, leaving that aside and sort of playing devil's advocate, let's talk about, well, how is she going to be okay with that? The only reason she would be okay with that is if she doesn't care about you. She doesn't care about the relationship. She's not there to be with you. She's there for what you can provide for her, which is the same thing that these same red pillars will tell you to avoid at all costs: a gold digger. So, what these red pillars are basically training you to do is to go after gold diggers, is to go after sugar babies, is to go after women who are only interested in you for your resources, for what you can provide, for your status, or whatever it is. And therefore, they don't care if you cheat on them. In fact, they prefer if you cheat on them because they're not interested in you, because they don't find you attractive, because they don't want to be with you anyway, right? So here's the thing. If you actually want to be in a happy relationship, if you actually want to have a fulfilled life, you got to go the opposite way. You can't keep going from hookup to hookup expecting to have an amazing life, because here's the thing that I've talked about in previous videos, and I find it to be more and more true the more I kind of delve deep into it. And the thing is, the path to hell feels like heaven, and the path to heaven feels like hell. Because the path to hell feels like heaven, it feels great to have hookups. And like I said, they sell you sex. They say if you have a bunch of sex, you're going to have a bunch of sex. That sounds amazing on the surface, right? You want to have sex, you want to have pleasure, you want to have all these things. But that immediate pleasure of hooking up over and over and over and over and over again gets really tiresome. And also, it leads nowhere. It's an empty hole. You keep going back to it and back to it and back to it and back to it, and nothing comes out of it. Nothing grows out of it because there's nothing there. And so the more you go back to those hookups, the less fulfilled you are in your life. There's this growing hole inside of your soul that keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because there's nobody there that actually wants to be by your side in this adventure we call life, which is all we ever want. All of us in this world, I don't care who you are, I don't care if you live in a cave, I don't care if you live in a building, I don't care if you live in a nice house, I don't care if you live in a house made out of clay or rubber, I don't care whatever it is. Every single one of us in this world wants somebody to share this life with. And if that's you, and I'm talking to you, here's the thing that you need to understand. Follow that advice, it leads you nowhere. It leads you down that empty hole. But if you go the other route and you start developing the skills to sustain a long-term relationship, that is the path to true fulfillment and true happiness. But how do you do that, right? It's easier said than done. I understand that when I say these things, some of you kind of glaze over and say, well, yeah, no shit, but how do I do it? There are sort of steps to it, right? Everything in life is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. If you understand the principles of how things work, then you can start taking action on it. But if you overcomplicate it, you glaze over and you start wandering around and doing a whole bunch of useless shit that doesn't take you anywhere. So keep it simple. First and foremost, understand what it is that you're looking for. If you are not in a relationship, you're just looking for someone right now, right? First of all, understand what you want in a woman, okay? Because so many guys out there are just looking for a beautiful woman and they don't care about anything else. They just say, oh, she's got a tight ass. Oh, fantastic. But a tight ass is not enough for you to maintain a serious relationship. So this is how a lot of guys end up in bad relationships and toxic relationships with women because they're so hot, but their personality is shit, right? So the thing that you need to understand is, what are you looking for? What exactly does this person that you want to spend the rest of your life with has to have? Does she have to be health conscious? Does she work out? Does she read? Does she go outdoors? Does she like to stay indoors? Does she play video games? Does she play board games? Does she is she interested in movies? Is she interested in poetry? Like all of these things that really align with your values first and foremost, and align with your worldview, your personality. These things need to be in place. So you need to understand exactly what it is that you're looking for, exactly what it is that you want, so that when you meet this person, you recognize it in them. Most guys understand what they don't want. It's easier for somebody to say, well, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want her to be jealous, I don't want her to be possessive, I don't want her to be a gold digger, I don't want her to dress up for other people, right? All of these things that you don't want, which is great. Understand what you don't want. More power to you. But also understand what you do want, right? Because the clearer you are on that, the better it's going to be in the long run. 60% of how successful a relationship is selection, selecting the right person. Even if you do everything perfect in a relationship, with the wrong person, it's going to fail. Okay, so selection is key. Number two, or step two, is become the man that can attract that woman, right? Because we say oftentimes, well, I want a woman who does this and does that, and is feminine and is traditional and all these things. But are you the kind of man that she's going to be interested in? That's the main question. And it's not necessarily that you have to change yourself dramatically or doing some kind of transformation where it becomes phony or trying to fake it to become that person. It's really you working on yourself and doing self development to get to the point where you are that person. Like you transform yourself into that person with your own personality, with your own quirks, with your own likes, dislikes. It's being authentic, but it's also being the kind of person that that woman will be attracted to. Meaning that if you want a feminine man, a feminine woman, excuse me, maybe some of you might want that. Meaning that if you want a feminine woman who is traditional in her values, are you a traditional man who is masculine who can attract that type of woman? See what I mean? Become that man. Act accordingly. Act accordingly to the man that can attract that woman, and you might end up attracting that woman. And last but not least, understand that in every relationship, I don't care who you are, in every relationship, there are always going to be challenges. There are always going to be conflicts. There are always going to be moments of tension, hard conversations that you don't want to have. But having those hard conversations builds muscle, builds strength, builds resilience in that relationship, right? So you being able to communicate with this woman and to resolve conflicts and to work over problems, those skills are incredibly important for the longevity of your relationship. If you are not working on those skills, if you're avoiding conflict, if you're avoiding the hard conversations, they're going to come back to bite you in the ass every single time. So really, it's all about working on the hard things, doing the hard things. Like I said, the path to heaven feels like hell because you have to do the hard things that nobody wants to do. You have to work at conflict resolution. You have to learn about the other person, about how they communicate, about how not to offend them or not to create unnecessary tension, how to make them feel safe, make them feel loved, make them feel like they can communicate with you. All of these things are important, all these skills are important, but they're hard to get. They're hard to accomplish. And there's nothing more challenging in this world to have a loving, long term relationship. There's nothing more challenging, but there's also nothing more rewarding because that is a place, unlike hookups, that can grow and grow and grow and grow into something amazing and magnificent, where you have this partnership through life, where you can completely confide in this person, you can completely trust in this person, and you can trust each other and walk beside each other and talk to each other and create new things, create new life, maybe if you have children, create a whole new family. Here's the thing that is really going to lead you to fulfillment. It's a relationship. Hookups lead you nowhere. It's an empty hole. It's a downward spiral that goes nowhere. Relationships make you grow, make the other person grow, and grows your family, your name, your legacy, everything in this world. The more you go into this hookup idea that you need to sleep with thousands of women, to develop some type of game or skill, whatever it is, you're developing the wrong skills. These skills are not going to make you happy. And if you don't believe me, just look at every single red pill influencer out there and look at their romantic situation, and you'll see for yourself this is not where you want to be. So if you got anything out of this video, and if you agree with me or disagree with me, leave it in the comments below. Just be respectful about it. And guys, master your destiny and make this an amazing day. Take care.